I'm Erwin Martin, a business advocate with the Von Gehr Consulting Group. Today's class, we're going to talk about having your employees praise each other at work, as opposed to receiving praise just from the boss. Let's see how it's done typically right now. Well, the way it is now is we have a boss, and we've got some employees that work with that boss. Now, when an employee does a very good job in one of the two teams, the boss praises that employee from the mountaintop. And he singles out the star performers from either team and puts them on a pedestal and says, you and you emulate this star performer because they are awesome. Be like them. Now, what does that do for the organization? Well, that praise from the mountaintop starts to create silos between the teams. Those divisions between the teams creates productivity through competition. Team A versus Team B is going to compete now because they want to seek the praise from their boss. If it's one boss and an individual team, the individual team members will reach out and seek that praise. Now, the bad news is that tools and tips and different skills, those aren't shared now between the different divisions or the different teams because that silo has been built there because they are competing for the praise from one individual or a selected group of individuals that are above them. So they're not going to share that information that they learn to make themselves be better versus their internal competition. Now let's talk about the way it could be. So here we have our boss handing out praise to everybody else on both sides. Well, what if the employees were also part of that praise? An employee not only seeks praise from his or her boss, but he also seeks praise from his or her colleagues. Well, one thing it's going to do, it'll increase communication between the teams. Second, it'll allow teams to quickly implement ideas across the entire spectrum of the company. So if one idea is really good and another team adopts that idea, you're getting stronger productivity out of all your teams. And lastly, you're also going to start building a strong esprit de corps within the teams. It's one thing to let my boss down, it's another thing to let my colleague down. And seeking praise from my colleagues, I am not going to let them down. I'm going to hold myself to a higher standard of accountability and responsibility. So how does it work? Well, here we have Joe Blow. He's got a wonderful idea. He gets a couple of his colleagues together and he says, you know what? I'm going to try that idea. Blah, blah, blah. It's a great idea. We should do it. We'll be successful. And the colleagues say, okay, that sounds like a good idea. Why don't we go ahead and do that? And they think about it for a while and they realize that is a really good idea and it's going to equal results for the organization and for the team. So they try the idea. The idea is successful. They tell other team members across the board, this was an awesome idea. We did it. We got results with it. That is so cool. And everybody else says, yeah, that's cool. We should try it too. And they maybe make a little change to it. They make it better. They make it worse. Who knows? They apply it, but they get better results than if they were just in their silos. And so now, as the boss, you see Joe Blow, who had the great idea. He gets praise from all his colleagues from across the organization for doing a great job, for doing an awesome idea, and helping the company and their individual teams and themselves become much, much better. So, whereas one idea could have been just siloed from this individual into his own team or to himself, now it's being shared across the entire organization, and the entire organization is now much better for it. So in conclusion, allowing your employees to praise each other makes teams become more productive. They're more productive because now there's responsibility to each other in the team. Success now becomes the norm. It becomes the standard that everyone aspires to and the standard that everybody else is held to, not only to you, the boss, but also to the teams. And when praise comes from the top now, it has more meaning. You're not just selecting individuals out, but you're selecting individuals out that even the team knows is an awesome person because the team is praising that individual. And of course, that creates more productivity across the board. Thank you very much for your time. Again, you can find us online, follow us on Twitter, and we even have a fan page. And of course, we're also on a number of other social sites as well. Thank you.